let's go. It's time to be the GOAT. It's time to enter God mode, man, let's get it going. I wanna be the greatest, energy is overflowing. I know I'm stoking the fire, my desire's taking over, not time.
Okay, you beautiful friends, welcome back to the back of the semi-truck, and you could tell from the thumbnail, you could tell from the title, we are about to be sitting back and learning the lore of the Amazing World of Gumball. So, I've personally never delved into the world of Gumball or anything of the sort. I may have seen an episode playing in the background somewhere before, but never actually paid any attention to it. I've seen clips here and there, but never actually sat down and watched any of it. So that's what we're about to do, is sit down and delve into all this. So first things first, disclaimer, we are in the back of a semi-truck. There is going to be noise that happens. Outside world, it might creep in, but yes, we are in the back of a semi-truck. If this is your first time here, we are on the bed in the back of a semi-truck, and where y'all are on the camera, y'all are literally where the front seat is almost. The front seat is pushed all the way up, and that's where the tripod is. So, with that said, yes, we are going to learn this lore. This is going to be in a two-part video, because the original video, I've got it linked down in the description below, but the original video is 45 minutes long. And when I'm doing these learning the lore videos, I started out with, the game timeline of Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm about to record part 4 of that tomorrow. But I stop and start, I do the actual commentary when it comes to this. I don't sit back and just let it play and react as it's happening. So this is going to be more of a commentary style reaction video. So there will be playing, there will be pausing. Now, I did watch one of this guy's videos just to see kind of how they do the storyline and stuff like that. And I did the one for Star versus the Forces of Evil because I've seen that entire series. And he seems to do a pretty good job with it. So I think he's going to give a good, comprehensive overview of the entire story of the Amazing World of Gumball. So I say I need to shut up. Let's go ahead and spin me around and switch me spots, and now I'm up here in the top left corner, and we are about to sit back and watch what we're about to watch. So this is a two-parter because I'm going to split this video right down the middle, watch the first half, and then we're going to watch the second half later on, either later on this week or possibly next week. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go along. 3, 2, 1, and play.
The Amazing World of Gumball is, well, amazing. Okay, we got that joke out of the way. Good. Being a part of the Cartoon Network renaissance of the 2010s, Gumball, alongside Regular Show and Adventure Time, were big factors in bringing cartoons as a whole back into relevance after a little quality dip in the 2000s. And this show has easily cemented itself as one of the funniest cartoons of all time. And today, we're going to be covering the series from start to end. So strap in. We've got 6 seasons worth of insanity to look at.
And pause. Already I'm pausing, yes. So, first things first, I had no idea that the World of Gumball had 6 freaking seasons. That is crazy to think about. And then on top of that, the channel that I'm going from is called Jar Tunes. One word, that's it. Don't know how much y'all know about the channel, but I don't know how I feel about their thumbnails, because it said on their thumbnails it has start on the left hand side and end on the right hand side, and the start is like a young version of somebody, and then it's this depressing version on the ending side. So it's kind of like, I don't know how to feel about that, because it feels like a spoiler, but these shows really probably don't end depressing. But I don't know. Either way though, World of Gumball, 6 seasons. Holy crap. Let's continue and play.
But first, some context. This is Gumball Watterson, a young blue cat who resides in the town of Elmore and goes to school at Elmore Junior High. He's got a loving family made up of Nicole, his uber crazy but uber caring mom, who's also a cat, Richard, a big pink bunny who's got a knack for being lazy, Anais, his hyper-intelligent 4-year-old sister who's a bunny as well, and of course, the family's pet goldfish, who's more like a brother at this point, Darwin.
Pause. I know they're introducing Darwin to us right now, but the goldfish, well, then again, if they're cats, then this world has talking animals in it. Okay, so this is a lot of information to be taking in all at once, but right now the feels that I get from the family, just a family dynamic, nothing more than that. But heck, I didn't even know they had a last name, honestly. But the family dynamic feels that I get, I've watched Bluey. I haven't watched every episode or nothing. It's just something calming to play in the background and sometimes go to sleep too, sometimes not. But right now, just seeing what I'm seeing and the introductions I'm getting, I'm feeling like some Bluey vibes. Granted, yes, this came out before Bluey, but it still has that wholesomeness of the family dynamic. So far so good. Hopefully I'll get these names down in my head. So yeah, let's continue and play.
Who since sprouting legs has become Gumball's best friend. There's a whole lot of other characters you'll meet in Town of Elmore as well, all of whom are equally odd as the family themselves. But without any further ado, let's get into the recap. In the very first episode, The Responsible, Gumball and Darwin are reluctantly made babysitters for Anais as Nicole and Richard head off to a parent-teacher conference.
Are you aware that your husband isn't wearing any pants?
Gumball and Darwin go overboard when it comes to safety precautions and start wrecking the house with their weird ideas. Anais seems to be the most responsible one in the house, actually. The two chase Anais away from her running bath, but she outsmarts them and locks them out. The bath floods the house, though, and so the two head in through the sewer to save her. The parents get home right after the kids escape the house through the chimney, and well, Nicole isn't happy.
Mom? It was Darwin. What?
Ironic.
Pause. Okay, so first episode, right out the gate, what we're getting is dysfunction. That's what I'm feeling right now. So the Bluey vibes that I was feeling, no more, because this mom looks like she just doesn't take much guff from anyone. But dude, Gumball, you didn't have to blame Darwin right away. That was kind of wrong of you, my dude. So don't just be blaming other people. Your sister's about to rat you out, though. Let's listen to her rat you out and play.
Nobody takes any responsibility for what happened, though, and just blame the internet. Well, I mean, that works, I guess. In the next episode, The DVD, Gumball and Darwin accidentally destroy a rental DVD in the most stupid way possible.
The slightest scratch and they're ruined forever.
Okay, pause again. Okay, so this definitely dates the show. A rental DVD. I understand that we're in the day and age of streaming everything, so for anyone not accustomed to it, Netflix actually started out as a DVD mail rental service. So you would sign up and then go to their website, click the DVDs that you wanted mailed to your house, and then you would watch them and then send them back. And yeah, I don't know how the system worked, honestly, but I still signed up for it. So yeah, as far as what Gumball there is doing, the slightest little thing will scratch it up as he's scratching the mess out of that disc. Let's continue.
Gumball, up.
And try and find a way out of their problem. They've got to get $25 before their mom finds out about the DVD, because if she does, it won't be pretty. Oh, and it turns out she's on her way home. So they gotta think fast. Raising money didn't work, so they resorted to a plan they have very little doubt will fail. But that's all they got. Nicole gets home, realizes the DVD was never returned, and chases the boys all the way to the video store. And I do mean chase. The boys reach the store, and we finally see their genius plan: a home movie remake of Alligators on a Train, complete with cardboard alligators. Larry doesn't buy it.
Pause. Okay, I know I've paused several times, and I'm only 3 minutes into watching this, complete story of the Amazing World of Gumball, but their idea is to literally just remake a homemade version of Alligators on a Train, which is nothing more than just a parody off of another movie which starred Samuel L. Jackson called Snakes on a Plane. But holy crap. And the mother of this show, I don't know why, but I like her. She is relatable as can be, and I like her. So it kind of gives me, I don't know how to describe this. She gives me some vibes, though, from the mother of Phineas and Ferb, but if, their mom actually caught them in what they're doing. I don't know if that makes sense. So I'm going to shut up right there and start continuing to play this, because I don't feel like I explained that. In my head it makes sense, but when it comes out, no sense at all. Play.
Oh, also the clerk is Larry. You'll see him a lot. Nicole arrives and decides to pay the $25 herself, but there's also the lateness fee that adds up to $700. And well, again, nobody takes responsibility. I'm sensing a theme. In the next episode, while playing their homemade board game Dodge or Dare, the boys realize they need a third friend and head to school to find one. They consider Tina, the T-Rex, William, the creepy winged eyeball thing, and Banana Joe, who's just a little too odd for them. Bobbert seems a bit...
Pause. I feel like I need to watch this show for what it is. Because we're in the 3rd episode. We've got a T-Rex and a banana that takes its pill off, and a flying eyeball. And then there's a robot. Okay. Whatever. Let's continue. Now y'all are seeing why I also split it up into 2 videos. The 45-minute video I'm splitting into 2, because if I was to pause and start like I do, which I'm going to try to let it play for more than a minute this time, but this is why it's going to be split into 2, because if I didn't, then I would be doing a 2.5 hour video, and honestly, I don't want to sit here like this for 2.5 hours. So either way, let's continue.
Rough.
Play.
And Leslie the Flower is straight up creepy. All of these characters remain throughout the show as side characters, by the way. You'll see them later. Anyway, it seems like the guys are stuck being a duo until another school kid, Tobias, shows up, and he's in, as long as Gumball and Darwin pay him. That said, he mainly hangs out with Darwin, so Gumball starts feeling left out.
I feel like I've known him forever. Gumball.
Especially when everyone pairs up in gym class. Darwin pairs with Tobias, and Gumball is stuck with Alan, a talking balloon.
Yeah, sure, we can have a sleepover. $20.
$10. I'm not coming.
Eventually, Alan helps Gumball realize that he needs Darwin, and so he rushes over to find him at Tobias's house, only to find Darwin already feels bad for leaving Gumball. The two become best friends again, and they ditch Tobias for being a bit of a jerk. The next episode, The Debt, shows us the neighbors of the Wattersons, that being the Robinsons, who are a couple of grumpy puppets. After Mr. Robinson saves his life, Gumball vows to repay him.
I'll get the cough drops, my zip. What are you doing here?
I'm here to save your life.
Even though the guy doesn't want anything to do with him. Gumball is heartbroken when he figures this out, though. And so, to cheer him up, Darwin and Anais decide to make a fake threat against Mr. Robinson so Gumball can actually save the...
Pause? What? So, okay. Y'all are gonna make a fake threat in order for Gumball to save him? I was going to stop it and actually mention something about how the episode that they're explaining right now has some Dennis the Menace vibes with Mr. Wilson and Dennis, but this is no longer Dennis the Menace type vibes. This is just Menace vibes. But hey, you know, threatening letter. Hey, Gumball can save him. So yeah, let's continue. Play.
Mr. Robinson will be nominated.
Robinson heads off to perform in a talent show. Anais and Darwin try to catch Gumball's attention with purposefully off-target sandbags. But eventually, he saves Mr. Robinson. But he still isn't happy. Gumball is proud of himself, though. And Mr. Robinson is promptly smushed. Happy ending, I guess. The episode, The Pressure, introduces us to Masami, a girl who's just a talking cloud. She's invited along with a bunch of the other Elmore girls up to a treehouse to talk about boys. She lies and says Darwin is her boyfriend to impress the others, while Gumball and Darwin, alongside Banana Joe and Tobias, form a pact. Pals before gals. Masami tries to prove it, but Darwin is just made uncomfortable and launches himself out of a window before the guys can chastise him. Gumball's crush, Penny, who's a peanut with antlers, walks up to him after, which also causes him to jump out the window. Figures.
On the other hand, I splash Penny and look like a... What was that?
Masami brings Darwin up to the treehouse to kiss him in front of the other girls, while Gumball went up with Penny to try and save Darwin, and maybe to also kiss Penny. The other guys cut the treehouse down right as each guy is about to kiss the girls, and it causes the two guys to kiss each other.
So you're gonna cut the treehouse down just so they don't have to kiss the girls. This honestly sounds like a show that should have been like a reaction. If I could have caught this show when it was first coming out and do reactions to it, you know, watch the episode as it's happening with y'all with me, oh my gosh, that would have been so freaking wonderful. But at the same time, I feel like the show's over. Let's just jump into the story and the lore and all that stuff and just experience it together all in, like, well, I can't say one video, but just all, jeez. Just the craziness that happens in the show, though. The characters they got, it's just crazy. And then these two don't even know that they kissed each other, but hey, let them live in ignorance, because ignorance is bliss. And
Unbeknownst to them. Well, at least they seem happy about it.
Hi, Gumball.
In the episode The Laziest, we find out that Richard may just be the laziest guy in all of Elmore, with him challenging to try and find someone even lazier than him. They don't quite match up themselves, so they look for Lazy Larry, who turns out to be the same Larry from the DVD rental place. Turns out he also works at the supermarket. Larry explains he isn't lazy anymore because he's got a job, a car, and a girlfriend. And so the boys proceed to inadvertently destroy each of those.
Pause. I got a feeling that Larry is going to have a sucky life in this show due to them. So he's being a responsible adult, taking on 2 jobs in order to just simply, you know, provide for his girlfriend, you know, pay his bills. But speaking of that, if their dad is the laziest, well, he probably relies on the mother, you know, the mother and her job. But holy crap. And now they're going to destroy all of those. They're going to destroy the girlfriend. They're going to destroy his car, his house. They're going to have him homeless. But, you know, hey, hopefully they don't do it. But judging by what picture I'm seeing now, his life's going to suck. And play.
Get out of my life!
And then, when he finally does become lazy again, he's so lazy he doesn't even show up to challenge Richard. The boys decide to give it a shot themselves one more time, and Gumball actually wins with Richard giving up, just as Nicole gets home with Richard conveniently in pain after doing so many chores.
Oh, fluffy soldier, I don't want you to move another muscle.
Nicole forces the...
Okay, pause. I had to. But Richard? I don't know. He might be lazy, but he isn't stupid. Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, he is a smart one. Just get up when you hear that car door outside hit. Pretend that you were vacuuming the whole time. And oh my gosh, you're so sore from all the chores. Now you should sit down and do nothing since you've been working all day on the chores of the house and just let the kids handle it. Oh my gosh. He's not stupid. He might look stupid, but that's smart. Either way, let's continue.
Boys to do the rest of the chores, and so the real winner here turns out to be Richard himself. He's smart in a dumb way. The next episode gives us a proper introduction to Carrie, one of the girls from the Treehouse episode. She's a ghost, and is using Gumball to try and taste food again. Cause, you know, she's a ghost, she can't eat. The only problem is Gumball didn't consent to her using him at all, and he always ends up with this massive gut and stomach ache afterwards.
Muffin top!
Even after Gumball outright says no, Carrie takes his
Okay.
body, and it's only
Hold
when
on.
she realizes she's eating literal garbage does she stop.
Pause. Okay. I do remember this episode that they're talking about here being on a list of episodes that I don't remember what it wasn't controversial episodes, but it was on a list of episodes that kind of touched on touchy subjects, and the subject that this one discussed was consent. And yeah, that for a children's show, they're doing a bang up job with showing, you know, the ins and outs of consent, because Gumball's telling her no, and she's like, no, I want to taste food, I want to eat it, I want it. So, oh my gosh, yes, I remember, you know, hearing about this episode. So yeah, let's continue and play.
The boys decide to let her use Richard instead, who loves food already, and peace is kinda restored.
Hey, Sussy, how's your hot chocolate?
In a later episode, we're introduced to the grumpy granny JoJo, who's Richard's mom and the kid's grandma. She's a kisser, and accidentally kisses Gumball on the mouth,
Gumball, just get it over with.
Well, it's easy for you.
which instantly scars him. Darwin decides to try and help clear Gumball's mind, and takes him out to find a happy place, but his mind still fixates on that awful kiss. Darwin sets up a marathon of awfulness to try and push the Granny JoJo memory out, culminating with walking through the toe of one of the school's giant students, Hector. It works, and so he's able to present his cheek for a kiss goodbye from Granny JoJo, to which he's kissed on the lips again. Poor guy.
Hey, I hear your grandma's in town. Give her a big kiss from me.
In the episode The Party, Tobias's older sister Rachel is throwing a party and says the younger grade can only show up if they have a date, leading to mass hysteria, of course. You'll learn that that is Elmore's natural state as the show goes on. Gumball gets a note at lunch, which he misunderstands, and then tries to get a date, but, you know, I hate to say it, he's not great with girls. After begging on the phone, Gumball gets a date, who turns out to be Tina, and Penny brings Hector, and is evidently super pissed at Gumball. The school staff, Miss Simeon and Principal Brown, also crash the party and take it to the next level. Okay, and also, hear me out. You see that Cyclops guy there? The one who has no speaking parts at all and is basically just a background character? Yeah, remember him. I mean it. You'll need to. Anywho, the party escalates, and Darwin finds Rachel crying outside. He tells her his full name when she asks, which is just so confusingly long.
Darwin, Raglan, Caspian, Ahab, Poseidon, Nicodemus, Watterson, the third.
And then promises he'll clean the house after the party. Meanwhile, Penny tells Gumball the note from earlier was from her, and Gumball rightfully feels like an idiot. Darwin cleans, and Rachel kisses him, causing him to flop on his back. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's a fish, so that makes sense. Penny and Gumball almost kiss too, but Richard shows up and blares the car horn at the last minute, inadvertently
Pause. Richard, my dude. Gumball was about to get his first, well, technically second. Gumball was going to get his first kiss from a girl who he doesn't see as his best friend, and you're just going to come over there honking the horn and blaring there. Oh, man, you done blocked him, my dude. You done blocked him. But, you know, hey, gotta pick him up. Gotta be the dad to ruin everything, but that's okay. And as far as everything else, I'm glad that we got to see Tina again. I was going to wonder about that T-Rex. And now that guy, the narrator here, honestly, I don't know if the narrator is like an AI voice or not. But they've got me wondering about that one guy who's, you know, he said, remember this guy because he's got no speaking parts. Just remember him for the story later. So, okay. And oh my gosh. And then they were playing with the balloon. I feel like there's a joke in there, like, you know, but I just don't know where the joke is. Because they were just bouncing them back and forth, you know, like you can do with a balloon with touching it and it just goes across the air. I feel like there was a joke there. I just don't know what it was. I'm going to have to... This show is crazy. That's all I can say right now. So let's continue. We got about 13 more minutes of this show. Well, this first half of the video. Got about 13 minutes left of it, which means, of course, there is some pausing and stopping. So there's gonna... Y'all know what I'm saying. Let's continue.
Planning the moment.
I like the new one better.
Who? What? Penny? Oh no, I don't love her.
Oh, and if that's not enough kissing for you, Miss Simeon and Principal Brown kiss in Tobias's closet. Creepy. In the episode The Date, Penny asks Gumball to come to her house for an afternoon, and so Gumball gets ready for his big date. Richard, Anais, and Darwin help him prepare. But when he shows up, it turns out Penny invited him to a funeral for her family's pet tarantula.
The spider! Knock his block off! That's awful!
Pause. Gumball. Dude. Although, this has to be a little bit on Penny as well. Penny should have told him. So, at the same time though, Gumball, read the room, my dude. Read the room that you were at a funeral for their pet spider. You didn't have to knock that little spider out of their hand and start stomping on it. Read the room for what's... Ooh, this show is crazy. Let's continue. And play.
So, Gumball didn't really listen all the way. That checks out. When using the bathroom, Gumball finds the tarantula, who's still alive and a little aggressive, it seems. He reunites Penny's family with Mr. Cuddles, and then passes out from all the bites he's gotten from him. What an unfitting name for a pet.
Right, Mr. Cuddles?
Okay, so it was a funeral for the spider, but it came back alive. Okay, whatever. Let's continue. And on top of that, Penny was telling him that what it was, but Gumball didn't listen. So the whole thing is on Gumball now. Penny was trying to tell him. So, yeah, let's continue.
Alright, this next episode played so often back in the day. The microwave. Gumball makes a jar full of the grossest things in the world, and Richard unknowingly microwaves it, giving birth to Kenneth, who's a tad bloodthirsty.
Darwin! Where do you think you're going?
Buy some stuff?
He grows and ends up eating a ton of Elmore residents,
Microwave became alive and swallowed the mailman and dad and the Anais and want to eat us and we had to hear it. What?
including Richard, Nicole, and Anais. After Darwin gets stuck after hopping in to rescue them, Gumball turns the hose on and pops Kenneth, bringing him back to baby form. The boys decide to give him one more chance, and then he goes full kaiju. Yeah, maybe they should have gone with their gut there. Time for season 2. Starting
we're
off
off.
with The Knights.
Hold on.
In this one, after driving Penny over to Gumball's house for a
Pause. Okay, so we're already jumping into season 2 here. I'm hoping that I ended and got this video in a decent spot to where it's going to end correctly. All I literally did was go to about the 23 minute mark, heard like one or two sentences, and I'm just hoping I ended it at a good point, but we'll find out here soon. But holy crap, the last episode there, my goodness, that had to be like a Halloween episode or something, because my goodness, this show makes no sense, but at the same time, I'm following it. I'm enjoying the show. I like it. So, yeah, and on top of that, I do know right now there is a good storyline here with Penny as well, because I see that relationship with Penny and Gumball. So, they're about to discuss more of that right here. So, let's continue and play.
project. Penny's dad decides that he doesn't want his daughter to be around the Watersons.
Oh, wow. These things just pop right off, don't they?
Tobias, who also likes Penny, wants to try and be her partner. and so he sets up a joust, which Gumball and Penny both find super immature. In the process, Penny is pushed into the street and is almost run over by her dad. But Gumball saves her, and he realizes that he isn't as bad as he seems. In the
Balls. Way to go, Gumball. Way to go. Saving Penny and showing her dad that you're a good guy. But at the same time, holy crap. That's crazy. Either way, let's continue. Hold on. The job, huh? So wait, Richard got a job? Huh. Or at least it looks like it by the screen I see. Either way.
job, Richard finally gets off his lazy butt and becomes a pizza man, mainly so he can get a bite of free food by sneaking a nibble of the pizzas he delivers. He drops his delivery bag as he heads off, and the boys run to return it to him.
Here's a 20.
However, Nicole and the boys start to realize that the fabric of the universe is unraveling, likely due to Richard getting this job. They grab Larry, who's the manager of the pizza place, of course, and he says the only way he can fire Richard is if he screws up. They try to stop his order, but he arrives at the house uninterrupted. Just before he delivers the pizza, though, the customer realizes it's been eaten a bit, and so Larry fires him, saving the entire universe. Wow, all that power in the hands of a dumb bunny.
But don't worry, I'll get another one.
No, you don't. You better not get another job. You continue to be lazy, Richard. If for nothing else to save the universe, you continue to be lazy. Although, I kind of want a second job myself. I want a second job so I can just have play money, so I can just do what I want with it. Have this job in the semi-truck just be pay the bills, and then the other one just be like, you know what? I'm going to buy that $1,000 comic book because I want it. I don't know. But, you know, either way, I don't know. That was just something that popped in my head. Y'all know I don't have no filter. So let's continue and play.
In the episode Halloween, Gumball, Darwin, and Anais all head over to the haunted mansion for a Halloween party that's full of ghosts. Carrie helps them get in by giving them a potion they can only have one drop of, and voila, now they can actually see all the ghosts. Oh, also, the reason they can always see Carrie is because she was born a ghost. When Gumball and Darwin are outed as mortals,
Pause. Is that the show's way of claiming she was a stillborn? I'm not sure what to think about that. She was born a ghost. So are her parents ghosts? Don't think too much about it, Billy. Just continue watching this. Like,
they drink the full potion to become full ghosts, which means Darwin can do something he's wanted to do for a while, which apparently is kiss Carrie. They get back to their bodies before midnight and become mortal again, and also save Anais, who had gotten herself into trouble, and everything is perfectly normal. Yep, it's normal, not a thing out of place.
It was supposed to be fun!
I didn't know what the potion was gonna do when I drank it.
What?
Have you ever wondered just why Richard is so dumb? Well, in the episode The Authority, we find out exactly why. Granny Jojo visits after Richard is hospitalized. And she decides to start trying to impose a bunch of new safety rules on the household. Some of her tactics to teach safety lessons are downright insane as well.
What?
The kids are so babied that they become as dumb as Richard, as the only thing they know is safe is watching TV and eating. Nicole realizes this and tries to help them back to normal by making...
pause. Okay. So, what I'm trying to figure out right now is how the heck did Nicole even end up with Richard if he's been coddled and babied all his life, which made him as stupid. Don't get me wrong, he did a smart thing earlier with, you know, faking with the chores and stuff, but if he's been babied and coddled and is as stupid as he is now because of his mother and the way she treated him, how the heck did Nicole end up with him? Because I can't figure that out. That is crazy to even think about. That's just... did you just need somebody that you can take care of constantly? Was that kind of your thing, or cartoon logic? Shut up, Billy. Let's continue and play.
Making sure they learn from their mistakes rather than never having any at all.
Oh!
Say it, oh! Say it, oh! Say I'm a good mother!
Richard takes the kids out in the car, but forgets how to brake. And only at the last second does Richard actually use his brain and remember where it is. The day is saved, and Nicole melts from fear. Because who wouldn't after almost getting hit by a car driven by a bunch of idiots who happen to be your family? The episode The Pony is weirdly important. You'll see why soon. So Anais has Gumball and Darwin rent a movie for her, and they're on a mission to get home to her ASAP to watch it with her because she seems upset. They run into someone who seemingly knows them, but they have no clue who he is.
Rich? Did you just call me Rich like it was a question?
Turns out his name is Rob, and he's been around before. That's the guy from the episode The Party that I told you to remember. But Gumball and Darwin didn't get the memo and forget about him once more after kicking him into the sewer. That is so mean. Long story short, they return home, but Anais doesn't even like the movie. So, yeah. In the episode The Storm, we...
Okay, I had to pause. Yeah, I see that we're about to do this episode called The Storm, but did Darwin literally just kick Rob into a hole? I'm starting to think that Gumball and Darwin are a bit of a jerks. That was wrong, and then they don't even remember his name. Don't get me wrong, I understand if you barely, interact with somebody, you're barely going to remember their name, but y'all could have just played it off a little bit. You didn't have... Okay, let's continue.
see that Alan, the balloon, and Carmen, the cactus, are in the
Oh
love,
no!
and annoying everyone with how sappy they're being. That relationship just doesn't seem safe, man. Anyway, the criticism they get makes Carmen realize their love is becoming stale, and so she gets Gumball to help spice things up. She has him kiss her. But Carmen just floats away in sadness instead of trying to stop things. So all that plan did was impale Gumball's face with a bunch of prickles. Masami, the cloud girl, gets Gumball to try and set her up with Alan to make Carmen jealous. And Gumball has to do his best to help Alan get back to his usual self by any means necessary.
Thanks, Gumball.
Whatever, man.
Pause. Okay, so this episode is also on a list out there. Because yeah, the balloon is very happy all of a sudden. So what it did, I'm still confused on exactly what Gumball did. But I know it involves blowing. I'm gonna say no more. Let's continue. Play.
Carmen finds out. But again, instead of trying to stop it, she just gets sad. And it's revealed it was all a scheme by Masami to get Alan to date her. Penny finds out about Gumball kissing Carmen, and things get really messy really quick. Alan saves the day through more sappiness, and the two get back together. Gumball and Penny, though technically not dating, also agree to never get like that. In the episode The Sweaters, we're introduced to the most annoying character ever put on a television screen, Sarah. She just transferred schools, and apparently at her last one, Gumball and Darwin are famous for being rebels and ultra hardcore. They quickly admit that they're in no way any of those things. However, after school, they meet some of Sarah's old schoolmates who pick on them. But Gumball and Darwin just don't care at all. Sarah's the only one who's stirring the pot on their side, and she ends up only trying to add fuel to the fire more and more as the episode goes on for literally no reason. Anyway, the preppy kids' dad, Coach, comes over and harasses the boys. But even still, they really don't care.
The worst thing is that this guy's got 2 sweaters and he's not wearing either of them.
Also, he looks kind of like Omni-Man from Invincible.
Okay. The Omni-Man thing didn't get me. It was... It was when... That's the kind of stuff that would bug the mess out of me. Let me go ahead and re-straighten myself out while I'm thinking about it as well. But that's the thing that would get me, is if I saw somebody that had 2 sweaters and not even wearing neither one of them. He literally has one around his neck and one around his waist. For what? I don't know, but it is what it is, right? Oh, and then the Omni-Man reference. That is Oh my gosh. Now I'm not going to be able to think of, that coach in any other way other than Omni-Man. Either way, let's continue.
They're challenged to a tennis game.
What?
See you on the court, losers.
And lose miserably. But hey, at least they showed courage by showing up. Yeah, this one's kind of going for an 80s sports movie vibe, and they are clearly as done with these tropes as the rest of humanity. This one's funny, but I hate the ice cream cone. In the episode The Finale, the Wattersons are going through a memory book and reflect on all their past adventures. You can even see when the house flooded in the very first episode, and then see how it went back to normal right after. Well, today, the Wattersons' actions are catching up to them. They've got bills to pay, school to redo, and jail time to potentially face. Wow. Eventually, they decide to just cancel out all the problems they're facing by making even more problems.
This is for breaking us out of here, and this is for punching my husband.
They bring back Kenneth and have him...
Okay, pause. I'm telling you, I really like Nicole. I don't know what it is about her, but I really like her. And Kenneth is back, and he's about to fight whatever the heck he's fighting. So, holy crap. This show is something. Continue.
Fight Hector the Giant from Gumball's school, and eventually have the whole town on them for everything they've ever done. The only thing that could save them is some magic device that resets reality itself, that being the classic TV show status quo. And so, the episode ends. Yeah, this one gets really meta at the end. Here's one of our first big lore episodes, titled The Void. Gumball and Darwin, along with Mr. Small, the school counselor, realize that certain things and people are going missing, and so they set out to figure things out. They find out that an old friend of theirs, Molly, is missing. She's the dinosaur girl who had the treehouse back in the season 1 episode, The Pressure.
As boring as Molly?
Mr. Small, are you okay?
Of course!
They go to her house, but it's nowhere to be found, and they soon realize the world folded in on itself. They go into the fold and find all the mistakes the world has ever made. And if you look closely, you can even see Rob. Still unimportant as always, I see. Classic Rob.
Okay, I had to pause. That animation was very freaking unique whenever they were doing the whole folding sort of thing. And I don't know. I need to go out and watch this entire episode because it just feels like something that would be hard-hitting for some reason, because now we got Molly right there, the dinosaur-looking thingy. She's just pouring a pot of tea, what looks to be like in the treehouse. Wow. And Rob, he disappeared and went into, within the folds. So, holy crap. This is... Let's see what happens, because I mainly wanted to pause for a second and just say how I feel like that animation with the folding in scene was just so freaking well done. So that's all I was trying to really pause for. But yeah, let's continue this and play.
They find Molly and try to get out of the void before it closes. Mr. Small gets them out via his van, Janice, which obviously is a mistake that belongs there, but I digress.
Run him over.
And all is well by the end, until the gang gets their tinfoil hats sucked off and their memories are wiped of the experience before they can tell the rest of the world. Jeez. Here's a big change for the series. The episode, The Shell. Gumball and Penny are the leads in a play, and during an improvised kissing scene, Gumball just straight up accidentally headbutts Penny, cracking her shell in the process. Oh my god.
Pause. That is, like, very traumatic. Literally headbutted her instead of kissing her. And then cracks the shell right here. Well, this one. Holy crap. Is that going to be a brain injury? What the heck's... I'm hoping for the best for Penny. So, let's continue.
The two get ready to tell Penny's dad about it, alongside Darwin, who's there to help. But things don't go well. Mr. Fitzgerald, Penny's dad, wants to fix her, but she questions whether she wants to be fixed at all. She's grounded, and Gumball is kicked out. Kinda an ugly situation going on. Penny sneaks off to Gumball's overnight to tell him her dad is making her move schools, but Gumball convinces...
Let's stop right there for a second. I know I'm stopping really fast right after, but I'm just going back to that scene where he was saying how Penny's, oh my gosh, that's probably a hard-hitting episode then, because then Penny's dad was like, hey, we need to fix you. But Penny's over here like, you know, all it is a, you know, a crack, and I don't need to be fixed. I'm good enough just the way I am. I mean, oh my gosh, I kind of, it's like, what the heck? Why are cartoons hitting hard when they're supposed to be for kids, you know? Which, of course, that's why I put it in quotation marks, because cartoons are for everybody. You can get a lesson out of this like crazy whenever you get a crack in your shell. That's just part of life. Let's continue. I don't need to be fixed. Let me learn from this and move on. Wow, just crazy. Let's continue. Play.
Break out of her shell, which she literally does.
You look.
What? Do I look bad? No, you look.
Taking a bunch of different forms that correlate with how she's feeling. Gumball tells Penny's dad what's wrong with his thinking, but says to not beat himself up too much because parenting is hard, and essentially eases tensions with like 3 sentences.
Turn my daughter into a monster!
Pause again. I wanted to let it play for more than just 3 seconds, because this freaking episode here that they're overviewing, my goodness, it goes from I'm fine the way I am to literally like, you know what? I don't care what people think. I'm just going to come out of my shell. And literally is like, just came out of her shell. There's another metaphor in there. Holy crap, you know, be who you are. Break out of your shell. Don't be scared of what people think. You know, there's a lot to this episode here. My goodness. Let's continue, and let's see what Gumball has to say to her dad.
Pretty man?
That's pretty impressive stuff. Gumball finds Penny in a forest and kisses her to try and ease her mind, and it works. And yeah, Penny stays out of her shell from here on out. This is a good one. It also used to air all the time back in the day, for good reason. In the episode The Bros, Darwin gets jealous of how much Gumball thinks of Penny over him, and so he tries to get some dirt on her. He then just screws with Penny out of jealousy, and when Gumball tries to propose to Penny...
I know, we got so much in common.
Be my wife.
No, I'm not kidding. She says she wants to give him space so he can sort out his relationship with Darwin. To make it up to Gumball, Darwin decides to help set up a perfect proposal scenario, but it doesn't go according to plan at all. Gumball finally asks Penny to marry him, but she says she can't because they're too young. But she has an idea for what to do with the ring. She pronounces Darwin and Gumball to be bros. See, that is a real bromance right there. In the episode The Man, Granny JoJo introduces the rest of her family to her new boyfriend, Louie, and Richard isn't having it. She's got a date with him later that night, but Richard is worried what his dad will say when he gets back from the grocery store.
We helped Granny JoJo make herself pretty for Louie. What do you think?
Huh, what do you know?
Apparently,
Pause. Richard, your dad went out for milk and isn't coming back. Or cigarettes, or whatever else is the meme nowadays of a dad walking out and never coming back. Wow. That is very, very... I feel bad for Richard now. That kind of sucks. I don't know what to say to that now. Either way, we got about 1.5 minutes, so I don't know if I'm going to pause it again or not, but we'll find out. Let's continue. Play. Dang, I messed that up. Hopefully, I catch myself in the editing all this. So, let's continue and
apparently, he left to get milk 42 years ago and hasn't come back since. Granny JoJo eventually comes clean to him, though, and explains that Richard's dad is never coming back, which he then comes to terms with and admits he was jealous of Louie taking his mother's attention away from him. He then hugs Louie and the whole ordeal is smoothed over. And yep, Louie is here to stay, just in case you were wondering. It's a shame about Richard's dad, though. In The Oracle, Gumball finds a bunch of paintings at a yard sale that prophesized moments in life before they happen.
Who painted this?
My mom.
And the only thing that hasn't happened was labeled for today. Spooky. So yeah, he's got to worry about getting stripped at the mall somehow, despite his plan to stay home all day to prevent his fate. Gumball is forced to go to the mall by his mom, and things start to shape up more and more like the painting. Gumball decides if it's gonna happen, it'll go down on his terms. And so he takes off all of his clothes and accepts his destiny. To end things off, we get a look at the next painting, which predicts some real ominous stuff in the future of the Watterson family. That can't be good.
Yeah, Richard, stop that now, please.
For our last important episode of Season 3, we've got The Nobody. Can you guess who this one is from the title alone?
So
the episode starts with Darwin and
going to
Gumball being
actually
accused of stealing the rest of the family's personal belongings
there
and being grounded because of it. They both know
like
neither of
this
them
is
did
going to
anything
be
and realize someone has got to be in the
important
house with them.
episode, and I don't want to be right there in the middle of it. So with them saying the episode entitled The Nobody, I can then go back in there and kind of just push back the whole, the slide to give me back that portion of the episode so I can watch it in the next part. So yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty important episode. I'm probably going to rewatch all of this granted, yes, I have to rewatch it to begin with in order to edit it up together and all that stuff, but holy crap. So first thoughts after watching that first half of that episode, well, it's not an episode, but first thoughts after watching the first half of this lore video, holy crap, I had zero clue that the Amazing World of Gumball was this chaotic. I seen like lots of clips and bits and pieces and stuff like that floating around here and there, but I have never known. Well, then again, I did see the one clip of, the balloon character being deflated and the scene where all of a sudden they're both walking out the room and he's like all smiles and saying, "Thanks, Gumball." So I have seen bits and pieces, but I had zero freaking clue that it was this freaking chaotic. So for the most part, I see the story shaping up for the most part. We got lots of backstory, lots of character development, we've got the love story happening between Penny and Gumball. We got the mom being just an absolute unit of a mother with Nicole there. And then the dad being Richard. I have no idea what the frick Nicole sees in him, because he is just so far out of all the characters. I think Richard is the one that I just do not like whatsoever. As far as the sister, we don't see much of her, and that kind of disappoints me. I think in this whole video so far, really all they've done is show us maybe from the first episode of his sister. So I really feel a little disappointed that we're not getting too much of her and any of her story. Maybe there just isn't that much to go around. But there is definitely some goodness to this show. And if you happen, by some chance, hear that overhead, I'm in an area right now that got planes, and I think it's the airfield is like right down the road. So either way though, I got distracted. If you've been around the channel, y'all already know I get distracted pretty easy. So yeah, we got lots of stuff happening, and oh my gosh, it's just crazy how much stuff is happening. I want to get to know Rob a little bit better as well, because he just seemed, I don't think he's going to be coming back because he's kind of stuck in the void, but I want to get to know him a little bit more. I have a feeling that this episode that they were about to jump into was a very important episode as well. Trying to think of touching on much of anything. Oh, then we got the guy who was, I really like, I can't remember his name. I think it was Lenny. I don't know, the one who supposedly the boys were trying to get him to compete with their dad about being so freaking lazy. And I really like him. He seems like a responsible freaking figure for them boys. So, I mean, he feels like he's one of those characters. You're going to see him at every freaking place you go to, because he works every freaking where. He reminds me of the shopkeep in, if you're familiar with the show Ruby, then you RWBY, then you know who I mean by Shopkeep. He is literally every freaking where in that town doing something. And I feel like the movie rental guy, or at least that's where he was working, he's going to be every freaking where, because he was a movie rental guy, then he was at the grocery store, then we saw him being a manager of a pizza place. He's getting around, and I like him. I wish I could think of more stuff, honestly, off the top of my head, but we went through a lot of stuff within this little 22 minutes that we got going on. I kind of feel, you know what, I better not skim through this. Let me flip this over and just leave that there. I kind of feel like Darwin and Gumball, they kind of feel like jerks a little bit. I mean, with the one guy, he worked 2 jobs in order to support his bills and his girlfriend and all that stuff. And they're going around like, oh, we could just destroy that stuff and he don't have to do it no more. And he could be lazy and we could win the competition with our, with Dad. And it's like, oh my gosh, y'all are complete jerks. I do not like y'all. Y'all are terrible. But at the same time, they're just lovable goofballs. So they're not meaning to be jerks. So, yeah. Wish I had more to say, but really, in all reality, I say a lot during the videos. I mean, goodness gracious. I've been recording for nearly an hour now, and this little video that we just watched together is only like 22 minutes. So, I think I've done enough talking, honestly. So, I'm going to shut up. I know I say this all the time. My turn to shut up. I've got to pass it off to y'all. So, if you've been around here long enough and you've ever made it to the end of one of these videos, then y'all already know what I'm about to say. Hit that like, tickle to subscribe. Don't be texting and driving. Watch what you love and love what you watch, and take it away, Mr. Rogers.
I like you just the way you are.